Hello students, welcome to E-Pathshala. I am S. Revati, Assistant Professor, AM Jain College, Meenambakkam, Chennai. Today we are going to see about the topic occupational stress. Introduction. The word stress is derived from the Latin term stringens, which means to draw tight. Some define stress as the non-specific responses of the body to any demands made on it. When the demands on an individual exceeds its capability and adjustment resources, stress occurs. Stress is different from anxiety, which is a state of uncertainty. It is also different from agitation, which is the physical part of anxiety. Stress also differs from frustration, which is blocked goal attainment. Occupational stress is an internal phenomenon and a mental attitude. If stress is the condiment, strain is the salt, and if there is an imbalance in condiment-salt relationship, the result is implantable. Stress is generally believed to have a deleterious effect on health and performance. It is the individual's reactions to stress which makes all the differences. Objectives: to understand how to reduce the occupational stress in the personnel. Occupational stress can be defined as a harmful physical and emotional responses that occurs when the requirements of the job do not match the capabilities, resources or needs of the workers. Job stress can lead to poor health and even injury. In short, the stage is set for illness, injury and job failure. It is the condition arising from the interaction of the people and their jobs and characterized by changes within people that forces them to deviate from their normal functioning. Occupational stress is a major hazard for many workers. Increased workloads, downsizing, overtime, hostile work environments and shift work are just a few of the many causes of stressful working conditions. Thus, stress is a mental, emotional or physical reaction from an individual's responses to environmental pressure and similar stimuli. Father of stress believes that stress is spice of life, absence of stress in death. Different persons respond to stressful situations in different ways. There are different causes of organizational stress. First, goals set behind should be realistic. Realistic goals set at very high level cause stress. Policies and procedures. Unfavorable policies and different procedures causes stress. Third one is the rules and regulations. Strict and inflexible rules designed to affect workers results in stress. Fourth one is a working condition. Employees feel stressful if the working conditions are unhealthy, unsafe and affect performance. Fifth one is compensation. Low salaries and wages, discrimination in wages, lack of incentives, delayed payments etc. causes stress. Next, job design. Poorly designed jobs, mismatch between job and skills, unrealistic job descriptions etc. gives rise to stress. Organization structure. Defective structure results in high degree of specialization, excessive interdependence among departments, line and staff conflict etc. Performance appraisal. Bias, unfairness and lack of transparency gives rise to stress. Ninth one is job loss. The unexpected loss of a job can take an emotional toll on individuals, especially in situations where personnel are not financially prepared to deal with the setback. Frequent overworking. The overworking may lead to an increased risk of high blood pressure, especially for those who do not feel as though they have a great deal of control over their job duties. Conflicting or the nuclear job expectations, lack of compensation for the types of work, poor interpersonal relationship with co-workers, career concerns such as job insecurity, extreme of work activity, unpleasant or dangerous working conditions such as overcrowding, noise and air pollution, commuting to work. In these causes, the psychosocial stresses are the major causes of the occupational stress. Then working condition, workload. In an occupational setting, dealing with the workload can be stressful and serve as a stressor for employees. There are three aspects of workload that can be stressful. Quantitative workload or overload. Having more work to do than can be accomplished comfortably. Qualitative workload. Having work that is too difficult. Underload. Having work that fails to use a worker's skills and abilities. Workload as a work demand is a major component of the demand control model of stress. This model suggests that a job with high demands can be stressful, especially when the individual has low control over the job. In other words, control serves as a buffer or protective factor when demands or workload is high. This model was explained into the demand control support model that suggest that the combination of high control and high social support a work buffers the effect of high demands. As a work demand, workload is also relevant to the job demands resources model of stress that suggests that jobs are stressful when demands exceeds the individual's resources to deal with them. A person's status in the workplace can also affect levels of stress. While workplace stress has the potential to affect employees of all categories, those who have very little influence to those who make major decisions for the company. However, less powerful employees are more likely to suffer stress than powerful workers. Managers as well as other kinds of workers are vulnerable to work overload. Next, economic factors. Economic factors that employees are facing in the 21st century have been linked to increased stress levels. Researchers and social commentators have pointed out that the computer and communication revolutions have made companies more efficient and productive than ever before. This boon in productivity, however, has caused higher expectation and greater competition, putting more stress on the employees. The following economic factors may lead to workplace stress: pressure from investors who can quickly withdraw their money from company stocks, the lack of trade and professional unions in the workplace, intercompany rivalries caused by the efforts of companies to compete globally, the willingness of companies to swiftly lay off workers to cope with changing business environments. Bullying. Bullying in the workplace can also contribute to stress. This can be broken down into 5 different categories: threat to profession status, threat to personal status, isolation, excess work, destabilization, that is, lack of credit for work, meaningless tasks, etc. This, in fact, can create a hostile work environment for the employees which in turn can affect their work ethic and contribution to the organization. Narcissism and psychopathy. Higher level of stress with people who work or interact with narcissists, which in turn increases absenteeism and staff turnover. Workplace conflict. Interpersonal conflict among people at work has been shown to be one of the most frequently noted stressors for employees. Conflicts has been noted to be an indicator of the broader concept of workplace harassment. It relates to other stressors that might co-occur, such as role conflict, role ambiguity, and workload. It also relates to strains such as anxiety, depression, physical symptoms, and low levels of job satisfaction. Next one is sexual harassment. Women are more likely than men to experience sexual harassment, especially for those working in traditionally masculine occupations. In addition, a study indicated that sexual harassment negatively affects workers' psychological well-being. Another study found that level of harassment at workplaces leads to differences in performance of work-related tasks. High levels of harassment were related to the worst outcomes, and no harassment was related to least negative outcomes. In other words, women who had experienced a higher level of harassment were more likely to perform poorly at workplace. Occupational group. Lower occupational groups are at a higher risk of work-related ill health than higher occupational groups. This is in part due to adverse work and employment conditions. Furthermore, such conditions have greater effects on ill health to those in lower social economic positions. Dynamics of work stress. Work-related stress is of growing concern because it has significant economic implication for the organization. First, intrinsic job factors such as poor working condition, over workload, and monotony. Role in organization, for example, role conflict. Career development, for instance, lack of promotional opportunities, policies, and job insecurity. Fourth one is poor relationship at work. Effects. Stressful working condition can lead to 3 types of strains: behavioral, absenteeism of poor performance. Second one, physical, headache or coronary heart diseases, etc. Third one, psychological, anxiety or depressed mood. Physical symptoms that may occur because of occupational stress include fatigue, headache, upset stomach, muscular ache and pains, weight gains or loss, chronic mild illness and sleep disturbances. Psychological and behavioral problems that may develop include anxiety, irritability, alcohol and drugs use, feeling powerless and low morale. The spectrum of effects caused by occupational stress include absenteeism, poor decision making, lack of creativity, accidents, organizational breakdown or even sabotage. If exposure to stressors in the workplace is prolonged, then chronic health problems can occur, include stroke. Then signs and symptoms of excessive job and workplace stress. The signs and symptoms are feeling anxious, irritable, depressed, apathy, loss of interest in work, problem sleeping, fatigue, trouble concentration, headache, stomach problems, social withdrawal, loss of sex drive, using alcohol or drug to cope. Possible effect of stress on body: a tendency to sweat, back pain, chest pain, childhood obesity, cramps or muscle spasms, erectile dysfunction, fainting spells, headache, heart diseases, hypertension, loss of libido, lower immunity against diseases, muscular ache, nail biting, nerve twitches, pins and needles, sleeping difficulties, stomach upset. Possible effects of stress on thoughts and feelings: anger, anxiety, burnout, depression, feelings of insecurity, forgetfulness, irritability, trouble concentrating, restlessness, sadness, fatigue. Possible effects of stress on behavior: eating too much, eating too little, food cravings, sudden angry outburst, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, higher tobacco consumption, social withdrawal, frequent crying, relationship problems. Follow our 10 simple tips to help manage and reduce stress levels. Avoid caffeine, alcohol and nicotine. Indulge in physical activity. Ensure adequate more sleep. Try relaxation techniques. Talk to someone. Keep a stress diary. Take control. Manage your time. Keep a positive attitude. Learn to relax. Be active regularly. Eat well balanced meals. Proper time management. Developing hobby. Building healthy relationship. Sense of humor. Take yearly break from work. Spending time with nature. Organization level strategies to cope up with the stress. There are measures undertaken by the organization to reduce stress levels of employees. First, right fit. Jobs should be matched with the skill, qualification, interest, experience of the employee. Next, interesting work. Providing challenging job assignments to improve interest in work and utilize potential, job rotation, job enrichment and job enlargement are the techniques that can be used. Flexible work arrangement. Providing flexibility in work arrangement to satisfy employee requirements, flexible timings, job sharing, telecommuting, working from home, compressed work weeks are some of the arrangements. Role clarity. Employees should have a clear understanding of their jobs, responsibilities and reporting relationships. Effective career management. Employees should be provided clear career paths. They should know the positions that they can reach and the benefits that they can receive. Improved organizational structure. Creating flexibility in organizational structure, improved clarity in responsibility, teamwork, effective leadership and providing transportation facilities. Working condition. Safe and healthy working conditions, adequate ventilation, lighting space, ideal temperature, control of excess noise and providing transportation facilities. Next one is open communication. Open communication helps to create understanding, improves relationship and reduce tensions. Clear communication act as stress busters. Next, programs to manage stress. The organization should conduct programs to manage stress such as employee counseling, holding team meetings, and offering health facilities. Some easy ways to incorporate exercise into our daily schedules to reduce stress. Put on some music and dance around. Take your dog for a walk. Walk or cycle to the grocery stores. Use the stairs at home or work rather than an elevator. Park your car in the farthest spot in the lot and walk the rest of the way. Pair up with an exercise partner and encourage each other as you work out. Play ping pong on an activity-based video game with your kids. Coping strategies to reduce stress. Coping strategies refers to the specific efforts, both behavioral and psychological, that people employ to master, tolerate, reduce, or minimize stressful events. Coping skills or methods a person used to deal with the stressful situations. Some good coping skills include meditation and relaxation techniques, practicing deep breathing techniques, the relaxation responses or progressive muscle relaxation or ways to help reduce stress and induce relaxation. Strategies for reducing occupational stress. Alter the working condition so that they are less stressful or more conducive to effective coping. This strategy is the most appropriate for large number of personnel working under severe conditions. Examples include altering physical annoyances such as noise levels or changing organizational decision-making processes to include personnel. Help individuals adopt by teaching them better coping strategies for conditions that are impossible or difficult to change. Limitations to these strategies, that is costly to deal with individuals' unique transaction with the environment. Interaction strategies could include individual counseling service to employees, employees assistance programs or specialized stress management programs such as cognitive behavioral interventions. Identifying the stressful relationship between the individual or group and the work setting. Intervention strategies might include changes in the personal assignment to produce a better person environment fit, or it could involve teaching coping strategies for individuals who share common coping deficits, training in relaxation skills. The Indian methods of managing stress. Indian philosophy consisting of Upanishads, Vedanta, etc. is very helpful in winning stress. Dr. Shesh Chandra Pandey has given the following Indian model of occupational stress management. Develop a strong philosophical base by combining different Indian values. Second, create awareness among organizational members about these values. Develop training programs for executive and other staff members for their total personality development based on the Indian values, so that they can develop their own strategies for coping with their organization stressors. There must be compulsory course of Indian philosophy in professional management course, so that the today's management personnel and develop their own managerial philosophy based on Indian values. Popularizing Indian values among organizational members will be helpful in reducing unnecessary individual and group conflict, power politics, and stress in Indian organization. 6. Stress management programs for employees must be based on sharing different philosophical values and developing strategies through group planning. Each organization must develop its own management philosophy based on Indian values and educate its employees about the philosophy to motivate them for achieving excellence in different areas. Organization must include these training programs as integral part of their life. There must be continuous learning by organizational members through such training programs. Organizations must know that reducing organizational stress is as important as motivating employees. So, stress management program must be integral parts of organizational training programs along with motivational development programs. In India organization, the goals of stress management programs must be to develop the spiritual dimension of personality and minimize their employees against the organizational stressors. Stress management programs based on Indian values like karma theory as mentioned in the Gita will not only reduce employees' work stress but also help in developing achievement orientation motivational climate of organization. In my conclusion, health requires the promotion of healthy lifestyle. In the last 20 years, a considerable body of evidence has accumulated which indicated that there is an association between health and lifestyle of an individual. The lifestyle of a personal health affects due to headache, depression, back problems, sleep disturbances, mood disturbances, inability to concentrate, loss of appetite, fatigue, shortness of a breath, high blood pressure and digestive problems. To summarize, both the individual, executive and organization needs to act to prevent burnout. The primary role of the individual executive should be to alert personal lifestyle. Increase is the role efficacy and learn new orientation to be able to influence and control destiny in the organization. The organization should pay major attention to the redesigning of roles, training and training of executives in stress redesigning and personality building areas, diagnosing and improving the climate.